It's February 17th, and this is Carpool Weekly, here to give you the video game news you need to know about from the week that was. If you like our Carpool content, please give us a like or subscribe. I'm Court Lalonde.
And I'm Seth Sturgill.
Our first story of the day is Sony is developing wireless earbuds for the PS5. Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson reports sources have revealed that Sony is developing wireless earbuds and a new wireless headset for the PS5, both of which are scheduled to release towards the end of fiscal year 23, April 2023 to March 2024. The earbuds named Project Nomad will have approximate battery life of around 5 hours, which is almost identical to Apple's AirPods, but slightly less than Sony's WF-100XM3's 6-hour battery life. Of course, just like almost all wireless earbuds on the market, the Nomad will come with a charging case that can be charged via USB cable on the PlayStation 5. In addition, the same connection method will be used for the wireless earbud updates on the PS5. I have to think it's USB-C. It doesn't mention it here, but that being the new norm, I have to think it would be USB-C.
Right.
As well as the earbuds, sources have also said the company is developing new wireless headset for the PlayStation 5 named Voyager, and it's also aiming to be released at a similar time to Nomad. It's understood that the Voyager's headset has similar functionality to the InZone H7 headset, but its price point is yet to be determined. My guess is, with they already having the headset, that the Voyager would be that high end.
Right.
Xbox has one. I think this is something they would go to. I am very intrigued about wireless earbuds for a console. What say you, Seth?
I'm kind of in the same. I'm going to be very curious about the price point. That's what I'm curious about, because to your point, if they had like something where, PlayStation has done, proprietary headsets and things like this for a long time at various different price points. So if they have like these sort of earbuds that are like a little bit more affordable, and then like in addition to premium like headphone sort of things, that are wireless, that'd be kind of interesting. Is this going to be kind of like a Raycon sort of situation, or is it going to be a premium, like high dollar AirPod situation? That's what I'm curious about here.
Yeah, like for me, I would think that this would be my preferred. I know a lot of people like the over the ear, but as someone that loves his AirPods and I use them a ton, if these are comfortable enough, these probably what I would be using to play my games, because I could just have one in one ear and I'd still be able to know what's going on in my environment around. Or if I'm doing VR, I think it would be a little bit more comfortable as I'm getting the headset next week. But we would love to hear from the community. So let us know in the comments. What do you think about these?
Our next story, Xbox has rolled out a new update as of February 15th and is now the first console to offer carbon-aware updates and downloads. Now, you might ask what even any of this means, so let me explain. In an article on Xbox Wire, they write, Team Xbox continues to bring new ways to make Xbox better with you at the center as we refine the experience and deliver brand new features based on your feedback. This month's update offers updates to Xbox Power Management, the ability to hide game art when selecting titles on your Xbox Home background, access to new touch controls in the Google Home app to control your Xbox like you do other smart devices. Xbox is now the first console to offer carbon-aware game downloads and updates. When your console is plugged in, connected to the internet, and regional carbon intensity data is available, Xbox will schedule game, app, and OS updates for your console at specific times during the nightly maintenance window that may result in lower carbon emissions because a higher proportion of electricity is coming from lower carbon sources on the electric grid. This decreases fossil fuel dependency and CO2 emissions and could potentially save you money. So that's really cool to notate. You can choose what works best for you and adjust your settings at any time. Shutdown, aka energy saving, cuts power use by up to 20 times when it's off compared to the sleep power option. For every 2 consoles that switch to the shutdown energy saving mode for 1 year, we will save the equivalent amount of carbon removed by 1 tree planted and grown for a decade. This is based on an average of Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One consoles on shutdown energy saving mode for 20 hours per day for 1 year. Actual energy savings and avoided emissions may vary by console and other factors using greenhouse gas equivalencies calculator as of the US EPA. There's a lot more to this update. We're going to have the article linked down below. But Court, what do you think about this one?
For me, it's kind of like, laughable for the fact that the amount of things that we're seeing on the news that are going after this from,
Mhm.
certain news media outlets, when it's an option you can turn off and on, and the fact that, it's 20 times it's off compared to the sleep power option, like the energy savings is crazy to me.
It's huge.
It's yeah, for me, it's something I'm automatically gonna turn on because, when I think about the future, I think about my daughter's future, but this is something Xbox didn't have to do. It's also something that we've talked about before that's not being talked about enough in the gaming sphere. It's so easy to talk about the negativities or like this game or that game, but for some reason, when something great like this is happening, we tend to not shed light on it for some reason. I don't get it.
Me either. And I think it's interesting too when like a company like Microsoft is like, "Hey, we figured something out and we're rolling it out. It's here. It's just something you can do now." For me, I'm like, "Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you be on board about it? Why wouldn't you be reporting on it? Why wouldn't you be celebrating this?" To me, it's a win-win.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear the thoughts of everybody in the community. Is this something that you're going to do with your Xbox? Let us know in the comments.
Absolutely.
Our next big story is PlayStation Plus games for February have been announced. They originally leaked, but now we have official confirmation from PlayStation. And what is looking like the best lineup they have ever had since the service has launched. The service has been met with a lot of complications because they have the 3-tier system. So the games we're going to talk about are going to be from the premium and extra tier. The first games we're going to talk about are the extra tier, though. So we're going to start off with Horizon Forbidden West, which will be available on PS4 and PS5. So you're going to join Alo as she braves the Forbidden West, a majestic but dangerous frontier that conceals mysterious new threats. Explore the distant lands, fight bigger and more awe-inspiring machines, and encounter astonishing new tribes as you return to the far future, post-apocalyptic world of Horizon. Reunite with old friends, forge alliances, and meet new factions, and unravel the legacy of the ancient past, all while trying to stay one step ahead of the seemingly undefeatable new enemy. One of my favorite games on the PS5, I have to add. The Quarry, PS4 and PS5, a thrilling teen horror story where your decisions shape how the night unfolds. We have a review actually for this game on Carpool. Ryan thoroughly loved this game. As the sun sets on the last day of summer camp, the counselors of Hackett Quarry throw a party to celebrate. Things quickly take a turn for the worse. Hunted by blood drenched locals and something far more sinister, these teens' party plans unravel into unpredictable night of horror. Play as each of the 9 counselors in a thrilling cinematic tale where every decision shapes your story. I'm actually very excited to play this game. It was a game I almost bought, so this will be one of the first that I'm going to be playing out of the list of the games I'm going to read.
Yeah. Never played it.
We also have Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Menace, the isolation seethed through the rooting walls of an abandoned farmhouse in the American South. 7 marks a new beginning for survival horror and a full model change in the frightening and immersive isolated view player perspective. Powered by the cutting-edge RE engine, horror reaches new heights of photorealism so overwhelming you won't be able to turn away. Enter a terrifying new world of horror and survive. And then we get Outriders PS4, PS5, embark on a co-op focused sci-fi shooter experience from People Can Fly, the developer behind Bulletstorm. As mankind bleeds out the trenches of Enoch, you'll create your own Outrider, embark on the journey across the hostile planet. With rich storytelling spanning a diverse world, you'll leave behind the slums and shanty towns of the first city and traverse forests, mountains, and deserts in the pursuit of a mysterious signal. I played this game originally on Xbox. It was originally on Game Pass, so it's great to see this coming to the PlayStation Plus lineup. So next we have Scarlet Nexus on PS4 and PS5. Crafted by the minds of the iconic Tales of Vesperia. In the far distant future, deranged mutants known as Others descend from the sky. That they're highly resistant to conventional attack methods means humanity's only defense lies in those with acute extrasensory abilities known as Phisonics. To use psychokinetic abilities to fight back, featuring a dual story, begin your adventure with Tito Shimagari. Sorry for not pronouncing that correctly.
It's a
An
hard one.
energetic recruit from prestigious political family of Cassane Randall, the mysterious scout whose power and skill has gained notoriety among the OSF. And then we have Borderlands 3, PS4 and PS5, a game I literally just bought. But I would say huge value in a game like this being added to PlayStation Plus, as it just gives you countless hours. We also have Tekken 7 on PS4, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown on PS4, Earth Defense Force 5 on PS4, Onianikani, PS4, definitely didn't say that correct. Lost Sphere on PS4. I Am Setsuna on PS4. That sounds like a Ryan game if I've ever heard. The Forgotten City on PS4 and PS5. All these games I've listed here are in the extra tier. With the full list of games coming to the premium tier is listed down below, but some of the notables will be Legends of Dragoon, Wild Arms 2, and Destroy All Humans. Seth, what is your thought on this huge lineup?
It's a huge lineup. This is probably the best drop we've seen. Just in terms of like just all the stuff we've had here. Highlights for me, definitely the Forgotten City is really cool. This is an interesting like time loop sort of indie game, which is really neat. Like you said, Borderlands 3's got a lot of value. Horizon Forbidden West, like come on, man. This is an awesome lineup. And then some of these classics, The Legend of Dragoon gotta be one of the top most wanted PS1 games to come to this lineup. So this is a massive drop.
Yeah, I kind of look at this list and I'm like, a lot of these games used to be on Game Pass. So it's probably we're going to see a lot of crossover between the two services, but I'm happy for this because you get Horizon, which is one of the biggest games from the PS5 generation. But we're also getting all these great games like Borderlands 3, Scarlet Nexus. We're getting a lot of choice for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what I've had an issue with PS Plus, besides the messaging, is that we haven't had a lot of games besides, the PlayStation first party games, but we're sometimes only getting the PS4 version. So this is giving us a little bit more for people in that extra tier. So I'd want to hear everybody else's thoughts and let me know what you guys are excited about.
Well, our next story, Saudi Arabia has reportedly increased its stake in Nintendo again. In an article on VGC, Andy Robinson writes, Saudi Arabia has reportedly increased its stake in Nintendo for the second time in a month. As per TradingView, the country's Public Investment Fund, PIF, a sovereign wealth fund chaired by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has reportedly increased its stake in the Nintendo Switch maker to 7.08%. The fund first acquired a 5.01% stake in Nintendo in May 2022. Just last month, it increased this stake to 6.07%. Nintendo has previously claimed that when the PIF bought its first initial 5.01% stake in the company, it was unaware of the transaction and first learned about the Saudi investment fund from news reports. It has yet to comment on the latest developments. Saudi Arabia's crown prince and his investment funds have made a series of investments in the video games industry in recent years. In December 2020, the fund acquired over $3 billion worth of stock in Activision, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, and Take-Two. Last year, through his electronic gaming development company, the prince acquired 96% of acclaimed Japanese developer SNK, taking over ownership of the Fatal Fury, Metal Slug, and King of Fighters studio. The PIF was also used to invest stakes of more than 5% in both Capcom and South Korean online games publisher Nexon. These investments totaled over $1 billion. And last September, the prince announced that the PIF would launch a new Savvy Gaming Group strategy, which would include putting aside 50 billion reals, which equates to about $13.3 billion, to acquire, quote, a leading game publisher to become a strategic development partner, end quote. The PIF is reportedly central to the Crown Prince's goal of making the Saudi economy less reliant on proceeds from oil. We'll have the full article in the links below. Court, this is a wild story that is like constantly kind of in development. What do you make of this?
Well, it's also a story that, once again, is not really getting a lot in the zeitgeist. It like came out and more people were like, no, we're not really wanting to talk about it. It's like almost like people just want to ignore it.
Because it's political.
Yeah, and I totally get it. Like Nintendo doesn't see this coming, but I don't know how they don't. This is happening more and more, and not just in video games. You have like the live golf tour that's happening right now. More Saudi money is coming into what our everyday life, and it's almost something we're gonna have to get used to. You can either take your stance on it, or you can choose to ignore it, or you can not be happy about it, but at the same time kind of realize there's not much we can do about it. Seth?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and as you say, and I've heard a few people online kind of just wonder aloud, like, well, can Nintendo just like not sell stake to Saudi Arabia? And the answer is no. Nintendo's a publicly traded company, so like if they have the money, then they can do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that, and that's why they're slowly increasing their stake. I mean, 7.08% of a company is a lot. And
it is. It's a ton.
that like people don't realize how that seems like a small number. That's actually a quite large number of the company. And like to the point on SNK, I mean, this is a pretty legendary Japanese developer going back decades. They own 96% of it. It's wild. And it's not so difficult to imagine a reality where, again, this is the second time in a month they've increased their stake in Nintendo. Who's to say that this time next month they won't have a 10% stake? You know,
who's to say next year they don't have almost a 30% stake?
Who knows? You know, it could continue to grow and grow. It's really crazy, and it's definitely something to sort of keep an eye on. And you decide where you want to kind of go with it morally. Let us know in the comments below what you think of it for sure.
Our top story for today is the reviews for the PSVR2 are here, and they're not bad. Currently looking like most outlets are giving it high praise and stating it's the best VR headset on the market. Average scores are around 4 out of 5. Saying it's the best VR headset, though, I want to add a caveat. There's not many in the competition, and this is the newest one, so I would be hoping it's the best. Carpool had Steve Vigvari join us on the PlayStation Drive and had very few negatives to say about the headset. He praised its design and functionality and even stated that Horizon Call of the Mountain is a AAA VR game and not just an experience. We'll have the link to that conversation in the comments down below. Steve's review, which is currently on iPhone Canada, says Sony's new PSVR2 can be widely looked at as an ambitious project. Sony is coming off the heels of a pandemic where PlayStation 5 consoles were scarce. Now the company is introducing its brand new device, expanding the PlayStation ecosystem. More so, VR in general is still a niche, even after the largely successful debut of the original PSVR in 2016. I've always been a staunch believer in VR in both gaming and entertainment. Technology advancements in VR continue to push the medium forward, becoming a more widely adopted product. On the PC side, headsets like the MetaQuest 2, HTC Vive, and the Valve Index are all propelling VR as far as gaming is concerned. Sony's PSVR was a fantastic first step into the console level VR. However, it ultimately held back in many ways. PSVR 2 addresses many of these gripes I had with the original headset. Inadequate equipment is now ditched for shinier, more contemporary peripherals. Quality of life improvements and impressive upgrades on the hardware and software front make PlayStation's latest VR venture feel like a product of 2023. The headset still requires a tether to the console. However, we're no longer bound by a processing unit and multiple USB connections. Plus, Sony is coming out of the gate with a fleshed out launch catalog of games from first and third parties. Despite all this, it's hard not to address the elephant in the room, which is pricing. PSVR 2 costs $749.99 in Canada, exceeding the price tag on the PlayStation 5 itself. The value proposition is there, but it largely depends on what you're looking to gain in the PSVR 2 in the early life cycle. We'll have the full link to the article down below. Seth, what is your thoughts? Are you jumping into PSVR 2?
Not right away. I'm interested. It's hard not to look at shiny new toys and not want them for sure. And some of these, it's really good to hear about Call of the Mountain specifically being an actual like full game and not just like a little experience, which I admittedly was worried it would be. So this has me interested. I like VR. I've dabbled in VR several times. But it is, for me, the price point is what's kind of keeping me away. But I know you're jumping in, and I know that we do have that review discussion on the channel, which we'll be linking to as well. So I know you're looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's my first jump into the VR. So for me, I'm really excited. I'm more excited for the experiences, but we'll see what it brings. Like, it's a big price tag that I'm paying to jump into this experience, but at the same time, I'm excited. I didn't invest the first time, and they've done a lot of steps. And from my conversation with Steve, he's made me feel a little bit more comfortable about the money I've spent. But we want to hear from you, the community. So let us know in the comments. Are you jumping in? If you aren't, why? Just let us know in the comments. That was another episode of Carpool Weekly. We hope you found the information informative, and please leave a comment and give us a like if you like and you think we deserve one.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.